on Israel?
October 7th.
So let's just start with Israel.
1 second, Bill.
Yeah.
Sorry, we had someone in the background. I'm afraid you're going to have to re-ask them.
Okay, whoever's in the dining room. Okay.
Just when you thought Kamala Harris could not sink any lower, new shocking details have emerged in the fallout of CBS's 60 Minutes scandal. So while the recent unedited footage exposing Kamala Harris's humiliating interview surfaced a few days ago, fresh twists are blowing this story wide open, guys.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
Revealing even more about this cover-up, the manipulation, and of course the fallout that could change everything. But this really should not come as any surprise, as Democrats have a history of gaslighting, breaking the rules, and falsely projecting their own violations on the Republican Party.
Look them in the eye. Come on, hold your face up. Look at them. Let them see you. This is him. Look at it. What's your name? Tell us your name. Give me that ID again.
Giving you the ID, I showed it to you.
So what?
I showed you the ID.
You do what?
I showed you the ID.
Could you let me see the ID again? Huh?
No.
No? Will someone else ask him for the ID? Will you ask him for it? He won't let me see it again. You didn't see it. You didn't see it.
Anyway, guys, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for sharing this video. I appreciate your support.
I think you have emergency powers just like I do, and I'm exercising my emergency powers. You have to exercise them also.
I did exercise them.
Because I looked, I mean, you have a very powerful emergency power, and
Yes.
you can do everything within 24 hours.
Yes. And if individuals want to clear out their property, they can.
We've got some news. A federal judge issuing an order temporarily blocking Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, from accessing the Treasury Department's payment systems. Now, this comes after 19 attorneys general filed suit accusing the administration of breaking federal law by giving DOGE access to federal computer systems that include sensitive personal data.
And another judge is temporarily blocking President Trump's order plan to place more than 2,000 USAID workers on leave.
Is funding Sesame Street a judicious use of soft power?
Well, Michael, the way you put it is the way I hope folks considering your poll today will think about it. This isn't just funding a kid show for children, millions of children in countries like Iraq. It's a show that helps teach values, helps teach public health, helps prevent kids from dying from dysentery and disease, and helps push values like collaboration, peacefulness, cooperation in a society where the alternative is ISIS, extremism, and terrorism.
The public is aware of the mismanagement, the improper payments.
What about the Department of Education? Now, I don't know that much about it, but I've never read good things. Yeah. Rahm Emanuel, who I agree with on almost everything, here was a quote. He said, "A third of 8th graders can't read, and now he wants to close the department." And I thought, that's probably why they can't read. Or at least partly. I mean, the numbers keep getting worse and worse and worse.
If you slash development and aid spending, then I'm going to need more bullets for our troops.
How many illegal immigrants being deported by the new administration would you find objectionable? Mr. Melnick, I'll ask you, 1 million?
I think 1 million would be a disaster.
2 million?
I think that is enough that would have severe negative ramifications.
I'm not reading what Trump intends to do. I'm reading exactly what President Barack Obama did. Yeah. So you said President Obama was immoral and inappropriate to deport those 1 million people. Is that what I heard you say?
There were many people that were deported
yes,
under his administration that should not have been. Yes.
Look, I would really appreciate it to say, if you would go out on social media and say that the President Obama did a horrible disservice to those people he deported, and he's as wrong-minded as every other Republican who said we've got to secure the border, deport people. Because You can't have one being okay and the other one not being okay.
And I don't know if the Department of Education is anything but, I mean, it doesn't really, I don't know what it does, except take money. It's sort of a middleman. It doesn't like run classrooms or do stuff like that. I don't think it makes policy. So where are you on something like that?
I think that the Department of Education has to essentially be closed. A lot of the authorities got to get sent back to the states. The dollars we appropriate actually need to go directly into the hands of parents so that they can use those resources in their states and in their communities to find the best outcome for their children. When the Department of Ed was created in 1977, our reading scores and math scores for kids 4th and 8th grade were higher than they are today.
No.
So it's not worked.
I mean, I read this, I'm stealing this from Nellie Bowles.
And to your point, it's pennies on the dollar. The U.S. Department of Defense has an annual budget of about $850 billion. USAID was spending about $30 billion. It is a small proportion of our total federal spending. And as Joe and I would often say, it's not just soft power, it's smart power. Let me leave you with one other quote, Michael, if I could. Jim Mattis, who is a 4-star Marine Corps general and Trump's Secretary of Defense in his first term, in a hearing back then said,
But we are going to move as fast as we can, but we want you to be safe, and we want you to be back in your homes immediately.
But the people are willing to clean out their own debris. It doesn't
Yes,
cost
and
a
they
lot.
can,
You
and
should
they are
let them
able
do
to-
it because
No,
by the
they
time you
can do
hire
that.
contractors, it's
Right.
going to be 2 years.
If a family...
People are willing to get a dumpster and do it themselves and clean it out.
And they can
There's
do
not
that.
that much left. It's all incinerated.
That's right.
And, you know, it's just going to take a long time if you do. You can do some of it, but a lot of these people, I know that guy right there that's talking. I know my people. You'll be on that thing tonight, throwing the stuff away, and your site it'll look perfect within 24 hours, and that's what he wants to do. He doesn't want to wait around for 7 months till the city hires some demolition contract that's going to charge him $25,000 to do his lot.
Wow, CBS was forced to hand over the raw footage as a part of an FCC investigation into alleged news distortion. And what's hidden in this particular footage has Trump's billion-dollar lawsuit gaining some serious traction. But hold on, guys, because what has recently been uncovered goes way deeper than what anyone expected. In fact, stay tuned, guys, because we're not just revisiting the Kamala Harris disaster. We are diving into the new bombshell revelations that could spell even bigger trouble for CBS and the Democrats trying to shield Kamala Harris from the truth. Anyway, guys, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for sharing this video. I appreciate your support.
Sure, what we can do to maintain America's strength in the global context.
But that's why you want to run. That's why you want to be.
That's why I'm
president.
running. That and some other reason.
Kamala Harris's carefully constructed image has finally unraveled, and America is now seeing the truth behind the curtain, vindicating those who voted for Donald Trump.
As president, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Bill. Good to be with you.
Well, can we just get just a little bit of a question, please, so I can get it over the shoulder shot?
Yeah. You need me talking?
Yes, sir.
Well, we were talking about how you're going to pay for it, and I mean, I truly do mean it. Your plans are logical, make logical sense. The way Washington works is not logical. So how are you going to convince a divided Congress that what you say, your plans, are something that they should all agree to and provide to the American people when they've shown no inclination to do that up to this point?
Is that what you needed?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. 30 seconds of silence, please, for each other.
In a very stunning revelation, CBS was forced to release the raw, unedited footage of a Harris interview that has been deceptively edited for its 60 Minutes broadcast.
You meet with President Vladimir Putin to negotiate a solution to the war in Ukraine?
Not bilaterally without Ukraine. No. Ukraine must have a say in the future of Ukraine.
As president, would you support the effort to expand NATO to include Ukraine?
Those are all issues that we will deal with if and when it arrives at that point. Right now, we are supporting Ukraine's ability to defend itself against Russia's unprovoked aggression. Donald Trump, if he were president, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv right now. He talks about, oh, he can end it on day one. You know what that is? It's about surrender.
Would you meet with President Vladimir Putin to negotiate a solution to the war in Ukraine?
Not bilaterally without Ukraine. No. Ukraine must have a say in the future of Ukraine.
How about, as president, would you support the effort to expand NATO to include Ukraine?
Those are all issues that we will deal with if and when it arrives at that point. Right now, we are supporting Ukraine's ability to defend itself against Russia's unprovoked aggression and doing what we can to continue to build and strengthen the alliance around the support for Ukraine's right to be an independent nation, free from having its borders forcefully taken by Russia. And we are going to continue to work closely with our NATO allies to continue to reinforce America's alliance.
This is no minor oversight, guys. This is a part of a broader scheme to try and protect Kamala Harris from her own disastrous answers and bizarre behavior. Complaints filed with the FCC. The CBS manipulated the interview to prop up Kamala Harris during the election campaign, violating the agency's news distortion policy. And Trump immediately called it out for what it was: a giant fake news scam designed to mislead voters like they've been doing all along. And he was right. In fact, the unedited footage, it tells a completely different story, exposing Kamala Harris's infamous word salads, uncomfortable silences, and bizarre reactions. I mean, she's just weird. And of course, from scolding staff mid-interview to sitting in awkward silence when asked a follow-up question, the real Kamala Harris is miles away from the polished version that CBS tries to sell the American public. And it's no wonder that, they felt the need to edit this. I mean, who would really want to put this out unedited? She's not Trump at all. And without it, her answers were downright incoherent. And we've seen this several times in her attempts to discuss like foreign policy when she's asked about Ukraine becoming a part of NATO, right? Kamala Harris stammered, meandering through vague platitudes that only confirm what many people have already suspected about her. She is utterly unprepared for the role that she holds. And Trump wasn't just content to expose CBS. He sued them for $1 billion, accusing the network of intentionally doctoring the interview to mislead the American public. In fact, I think Trump sued them for $10 billion. Whatever the case is, it was a whole lot of money. So the case really just kind of underscores just how far the mainstream media is willing to go to protect their chosen candidates while smearing others. And it's no longer journalism at this point. It's just straight up propaganda, pure and simple. Public reaction to the unedited interview it's been swift and it's been brutal, guys. Online commentators described it with calling it horrible, meandering, and total nonsense, with many people noting just how lucky the country is that Kamala Harris never became president.
3 weeks of utter shock, awe, and transformation in Washington, and it has gone at the speed of light. And, thank God for the country. And then you got this freak out. What do you make of it?
I'm not sure what they're freaking out about, to be honest, Sean. I'm pretty sure we stood at rally after rally and said exactly what we were going to do. We were going to protect taxpayer dollars. We were going to help educate our children in the right way who are undereducated. So, Maxine, I'm not sure what you're stepping into, but you need to move out of the way. And we're going to create DOGE. We did. And DOGE is working. So I have to tell you, I know Elon, and I'm a little bit frustrated, not a little bit, but by what I'm hearing. But the people that are screaming the loudest, Sean, are probably the people that are pissed off because their money train has come to an end. We're done now. Sorry, Chuck. Sorry, Maxine. Sorry, Nancy, with your stock trades. The show's over. We are now looking, and we're going to audit, and we're going to find out what's going on, and we're finding a lot. We've named them over and over again. And by the way, the list is extensive. Operas for transgender LGBTQ people. We're funding condoms. We're funding, things that are unheard of. One was teaching people how to use their pronouns in another country. We spent millions of dollars. This is absurd. We are supposed to take care of taxpayer dollars. And what the last administration did was get rich and waste money. And I'm tired of it.
Well, look, there'll be the full suite of FCC options that are on the table that apply to any broadcast licensee. We obviously haven't made any decisions, but there's no way that the FCC can adjudicate this claim without getting a copy of the transcript. At the end of the Biden administration, my predecessor summarily dismissed this complaint, but I'm not sure how you can possibly do that without seeing the actual video to see what was the real answer. Was it edited? Was it, edited for clarity and length, which would be fine? Or are there other reasons why the editing took place? So we're going to take a look at that, and we're open-minded as to potential consequences.
Check out this post on Twitter. Gunther Eagleman says the entire 60-minute interview has dropped. This will remind you how lucky America is that this lady did not win. Wow. Charles Gaprino says, I just read and listened to the full unedited at Kamala Harris at 60 Minutes interview, and I know why they needed to edit it down. It was simply horrible. Total problem answers, meandering and boring.
I guess it's probably a good time to talk about this. There was a thing that came out recently. There was a book. There was some book about the Kamala Harris campaign where they talked about her getting on this show. And they said a bunch of things that weren't true. They talked to, supposedly talked to like 150 different people about her and, what happened with her coming on the show. I don't know if it's 150. A lot of people. They didn't talk to us, and which is kind of crazy. And which is like, they didn't even ask. But they said things that just weren't true. One of the things they said that weren't true was that we lied about the day that Trump was coming on. No, we just didn't tell you that Trump was coming on. He was already booked a long time ago. This is how it worked. Trump was really easy to book, like super easy. We offered one day. He said yes. That was it. There was no, what are we going to talk about? How long is it going to be? Is it going to be edited? There was nothing. Yeah. What's the waiver? Here, give me that waiver. Sign it. It was so easy. So he was already booked. They never committed to doing the show. So all this talk, there was another thing they said that the reason why they did the Beyonce thing, the Beyonce event in Houston, was so that they could be in Texas to do my show. They never agreed to do the show.
Incredible polling coming out showing that the Democrats are at the lowest numbers possibly ever. The Republicans are flying. And we've got this talent pool amongst the Republicans. So many young, bright, future presidential candidates. You've got J.D. Vance, Ron DeSantis, Vivek Ramaswamy, Sarah Huckabee Sanders. The list is long. Who is going to be the next future leader of the Democrats? Is it going to be Gavin Newsom? Is there somebody else who's a front runner who could possibly take on the next line of Republicans who seem to be just absolutely going gangbusters?
Yeah. It's hard to tell. They just elected a new technical leader, Martin, who was the head of the Minnesota Democrat Party. Minnesota, of course, the origin of the vice presidential candidate, Tim Walz, known as Tampon Tim, since he wanted to put, in fact, did put tampons in boys' rooms in school. But then you're right. The sort of real leader would be who is the heir apparent, who's the likely nominee 4 years from now. There's a surprising amount of support among Democrats, it seems, for Kamala Harris as
yes. Wonderful.
Bring it on. Gavin Newsom as well with his state on fire, literally. And so the real question to me is whether they can figure out a way to talk to normal Americans, get back to speaking honestly in plain language and talk about economic issues and move away. They're still talking about how they're going to have a delegate who is trans. I'm actually a gay guy, and I really don't like being associated with this alphabet soup or being considered an acronym as opposed to just a person. And I think most Americans, including Americans who would fit in those different groups, just are so sick of the ethnic politics and the identity politics. So if the Democrats, if they can't get away from that, then they're looking at.
Even Joe Rogan joined in, slamming Kamala Harris for her team for lying about an alleged appearance on his show, further exposing the deception that surrounds her public narrative. Meanwhile, Trump's straightforward and unfiltered approach, it stands in stark contrast. As one commentator put it, Trump was an easy to book person, no preconditions, no demands for edits, just the truth. The transparency is precisely what voters crave, and it's why they continue to rally around Trump. Democrats, however, they seem determined, hell-bent to ignore reality. Despite the mounting evidence of Kamala Harris's incompetence, many within the party remain loyal, while Republican stars like J.D. Vance, Ron DeSantis, and Vivek Ramaswamy represent the future. Democrats, they're stuck trying to decide between Kamala Harris and Gavin Newsom, a governor whose state is literally on fire right now. Their obsession with identity politics and virtue signaling has alienated everyday Americans, and we're tired of it. Now, unless they pivot back to real issues like the economy and national security, they're destined for years in the political wilderness. Bottom line, guys, America dodged the bullet with Kamala Harris. The raw footage, it doesn't just reveal the truth, it serves as a stark reminder that leadership matters, clarity matters, and honesty matters. And in those categories, Trump wins every time. If you guys appreciate the video, thank you so much for hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys sharing the content, and we'll see you guys next time.